Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because what you're about to see could completely change the way you look at coins forever. This isn't just another coin story, it's a journey through history, rarity, and a little-known treasure that has captured the fascination of collectors around the world. Now, picture this. It's 1999. The world is on the brink of a new millennium. People are thinking about Y2K, new technology is emerging, and yet, in South Africa, quietly circulating in pockets, wallets, and coin collections, is a coin that nobody could have predicted would become one of the most coveted pieces in modern numismatics, the 10-cent coin from 1999. On the surface, it might look ordinary, just a small piece of copper nickel with a springbok engraved on it, but as anyone who has spent decades collecting coins will tell you, sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins hide extraordinary secrets. Let's take a closer look at what makes this particular 10-cent coin so unique. First, the year 1999. It was not only the final year of the 20th century, but also the last years before South Africa made subtle changes in their coin minting process. This coin was part of a smaller mint run, meaning fewer of them exist in circulation compared to earlier or later years. The springbok on the reverse isn't just an image, it's a symbol of South Africa's rich wildlife heritage and a connection to the country's national pride. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're holding a piece of culture, a piece of history, a tangible link to the past. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Many coins from this era were produced with minor variations, small differences in thickness, weight, and even the spacing of the lettering. These tiny details might seem insignificant to the casual observer, but in the world of coin collectors, they are what separate a common coin from a rare gem. The 1999 10-cent coin has a few of these subtle quirks that make it stand out. These are things only an experienced eye would notice, which is exactly why this coin has been quietly climbing in demand among collectors in Europe, the United States, and right back here in South Africa. For those of you who've been collecting for decades, you know the thrill of spotting a coin that almost nobody else sees for what it truly is. There's something deeply satisfying about holding a small piece of metal and knowing it has a story, a value, a significance that goes far beyond its face value. And for men in our age group, I know there's a sense of nostalgia that makes this even more special. Many of us grew up handling coins, hearing stories about rare finds, and imagining that one day we might stumble across a coin that could change everything. This 10-cent coin is exactly that type of discovery. Collectors will tell you that rarity is only half the story. Condition is everything. Coins that show wear and tear might still be interesting, but a coin preserved in near-mint condition, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and no signs of circulation, is a coin that commands attention. And the 1999 10-cent coin? When found in top condition, it becomes something far more than a simple collector's item. It becomes a trophy, a tangible asset, something that can be passed down through generations as both a story and an investment. Let's talk a little about the market. You might be thinking, 10 cents? Really? That can't be worth much. And that's exactly what makes it so compelling. The average person looks at this coin and sees almost nothing, but collectors and investors see potential. Over the years, the number of these coins preserved in mint condition has dwindled. People didn't know its future value. They used it, stored it in jars, or let it fade away in their wallets. Now, those who understand numismatics realize that scarcity drives demand, and demand drives value. What makes this even more fascinating is how this coin tells a story about South Africa itself. This was a period of transformation, of new beginnings, and this small piece of currency carries with it echoes of those times. Owning this coin isn't just about money, it's about owning a piece of history. It's about remembering a world that existed before digital currencies, before smartphones dominated our pockets, and before the turn of the millennium reshaped our lives. It's about holding in your hand a tiny reminder of where we've been and how far we've come. And for those of you who love the thrill of discovery, there's another layer to this coin's story. Over the years, collectors have found variations of the 1999 10-cent coin, minor imperfections that make certain coins stand out from the rest. Some have slightly off-center engravings, others have subtle differences in the finish. These are not flaws, they're features that make a coin extremely desirable to experienced collectors. It's the kind of thing that can turn a humble 10-cent piece into a conversation starter, a centerpiece in a collection, and even a substantial investment. Now, I know many of you watching have probably dabbled in coin collecting, or perhaps you've inherited collections from family members. This is the type of coin you wish you had discovered years ago, but the good news is, it's never too late to start paying attention. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right eye and the right patience to recognize their true worth. And here's the moment you've been waiting for. After decades of being overlooked, after years of collectors quietly trading, buying, and selling, the 1999 South African 10-cent coin has achieved something extraordinary. In exceptional condition, with verified authenticity, this coin has been valued at an astonishing $12 million. Yes, you heard that right, $12 million. From humble beginnings as a tiny piece of currency to becoming one of the most coveted collector's items in the world, this coin proves that sometimes, the most ordinary things can turn into the most extraordinary. So, what's the takeaway here? Pay attention. Study the coins you come across. Understand their history, appreciate their rarity, and never underestimate the power of a small object that carries a big story. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys a little adventure in your everyday life, this coin is a reminder that treasures exist all around us. You just need to know where and how to look. And finally, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned, because we have more stories of rare finds, hidden treasures, and coins that could change lives. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Remember, the 1999 South African 10-cent coin, a coin you might have overlooked, is worth an unbelievable $12 million today. That's the magic of history, rarity, and vision coming together in one small, powerful piece of metal.
Before we begin, take a second and hit that subscribe button. If you love history, hidden treasures, and the stories behind the coins we once held in our hands, this is the place for you. Every week, we uncover the value and mystery behind forgotten pieces of metal that once ruled our pockets. So, go on, subscribe now, and be part of a journey through time and value. Now, let's talk about something that might be sitting in your drawer right now, a small coin that you could have easily overlooked. A 10-cent coin from 1991, minted in South Africa. It doesn't look like much at first glance, copper-colored, modest in size, and something most people would have spent without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these very coins has recently made collectors lose their minds? Let's go back to 1991. South Africa was a nation in the midst of change. The winds of transformation were blowing through the country as it prepared to enter a new era. The coins that circulated during this period tell their own story, a silent reflection of a people on the brink of something new. The 10-cent coin from 1991 was one of those coins. It wasn't rare when it was first released. Millions of them were minted, carrying the same familiar design. The graceful arum lily on one side, symbolizing beauty and purity, and the bold national coat of arms on the other. It was practical, simple, and everywhere. But as time moved on, something began to happen. Most of these coins disappeared. Some were melted down, others lost, and many simply worn away through daily use. And yet, a few survived, untouched, preserved, and flawless. These few became the hidden gems that today are sparking the interest of collectors around the world. You see, coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about history, craftsmanship, and rarity. Every coin is a witness to the time it was born. The 1991 10-cent coin witnessed a turning point in South Africa's story. For collectors, that adds a powerful emotional and historical value. And when history meets rarity, the price begins to climb. Now imagine this. A collector sitting in his study, surrounded by magnifying glasses, lamps, and albums filled with decades of treasures. He pulls out a coin that looks ordinary. But under the light, he notices something. The perfect edges, the untouched luster, the sharp details of the arum lily, and the flawless coat of arms. It's a 1991 10-cent, but not just any one. It's a mint-condition specimen, never in circulation. That's when the heart starts to race. Because in the world of numismatics, perfection means power. Over the past few years, global interest in African coins has skyrocketed. Collectors from Europe, the United States, and Asia are hunting for pieces that tell stories of colonial history, independence, and transformation. The 1991 10-cent coin sits right at that crossroads, bridging the past and the present. What was once worth almost nothing is now a sought-after treasure, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Some collectors even believe that certain batches of these coins were struck with unique variations, slightly different lettering, a faint misalignment, or a mint mark error that went unnoticed at the time. In the collector's world, those tiny imperfections are worth a fortune. Because rarity isn't always about quantity, it's about uniqueness, and the market has spoken. Over the last decade, the value of rare South African coins has risen sharply. Pieces that once sold for a few dollars are now commanding thousands at international auctions. The humble 10-cent coin from 1991 has become a symbol of that rise, turning the heads of even the most seasoned collectors. But why this particular coin? It's simple: nostalgia and history. Many men who grew up in the late 80s and early 90s in South Africa remember holding this coin, using it to buy candy, a soda, or a newspaper. It was part of everyday life. To own one now, in pristine condition, is to hold a piece of their own past. And that emotional connection adds a kind of value no auction can measure. Collectors who understand that feeling aren't just buying metal, they're buying memories. They're preserving stories, heritage, and identity. And when those emotions combine with rarity and global demand, prices can reach unimaginable heights. Imagine walking into an antique shop or cleaning out an old drawer, and among the dust and old keys, you find a small copper coin dated 1991. You turn it over, and the light catches that lily in perfect detail. You might not think much of it, but somewhere out there, a collector might see that same coin and know exactly what it's worth. To him, that tiny circle of metal represents history, beauty, and rarity all in one dot, and that's where the magic lies. The real treasure isn't always gold or diamonds. It's the story behind what others overlook. Coins like the 1991 10-cent remind us that value can hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right eye to see it. So if you happen to have a few old South African coins tucked away, take a closer look. Examine the details, the shine, and the year. You never know what might be sitting right in front of you. Some of the rarest examples of this coin, especially those that were struck perfectly, never circulated, and preserved for over 3 decades, have now been valued by experts at astonishing prices. And here's where it gets truly unbelievable. A particular 1991 South African 10-cent coin, certified and graded as one of the rarest examples ever discovered, recently shocked collectors across the globe. Its flawless condition, combined with its historical timing, pushed its estimated market value to a jaw-dropping figure. Yes, you heard that right. $3 million. A simple 10-cent piece, once used to buy a sweet or a stamp, now carrying a value that could change a life. That's the beauty of collecting, the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the eternal hope that somewhere, somehow, an ordinary object could become something extraordinary. So before you throw away that old coin, take a closer look. Because in the world of coins, even the smallest piece can hold the biggest surprise. And if you want to discover more hidden treasures like this one, make sure you're subscribed. The next story might just be about the coin sitting in your pocket right now.
Have you ever held something so small in your hand, yet realized it could be worth a small fortune? Moneybag. Let me introduce you to a coin that's far more than just spare change. The 1994 10-cent coin from South Africa. A rare piece that's now turning heads in the collector world. If you're a coin lover, history buff, or just someone who's curious about hidden treasures, this might just be your new obsession. Let's start with the design. The reverse of the coin features a striking image of the arum lily, also known as the Xanthodeschia ethiopica, a beautiful flower native to southern Africa. Hibiscus, graceful, elegant, and deeply symbolic. The arum lily represents purity and beauty, but in the context of the 1990s, it also became a symbol of hope and transformation for a changing nation. Now flip the coin over. On the obverse side, you'll find the South African coat of arms used before 2000, with powerful images that reflect the country's identity during a pivotal moment in its history. Shield. The words South Africa are written in both English and one of the native languages, a subtle but significant sign of the country's multicultural identity. But what really sets this coin apart is its date, 1994. Why is that so important? Because 1994 wasn't just any year for South Africa. It was the beginning of a brand new chapter. It was the year Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. It was the year apartheid officially ended, the birth of a true democracy in the country. Owning a coin from 1994 is like holding a piece of that history, a silent witness to one of the most important years in the modern era of South Africa. For collectors, that kind of historical significance adds massive value, not just in terms of money, but in meaning. So why is this particular 10-cent coin so sought after? First, not all 1994 coins are the same. There are variations in minting quality, metal content, and condition. Coins that have remained in pristine condition, no scratches, no discoloration, no wear, are extremely rare. Additionally, because many of these coins were mass-produced and spent years in circulation, finding a 1994 10-cent coin in uncirculated or mint condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Collectors and numismatists have reported that well-preserved specimens from this year have become increasingly difficult to find. As demand grows, so does the value. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1994 South African 10-cent coin, here are a few things to check. White heavy checkmark. Is the design still sharp and detailed? White heavy checkmark. Is the edge clean, with no nicks or dents? White heavy checkmark. Is there any corrosion or discoloration? White heavy checkmark. Can you still clearly see the mint year and inscriptions? If your coin checks all those boxes, especially if it's never been in circulation, you might be holding on to something far more valuable than you think. Also, keep an eye out for proof coins or special mint editions, which are sometimes produced in small numbers for collectors and investors. These can be even more valuable. So what's the current market saying? Well, believe it or not, a high-quality 1994 South African 10-cent coin has been listed at an astonishing $5,900. Money with wings. Yes, you heard that right, $5,900 for a 10-cent coin. That kind of price isn't just about the metal, it's about the story, the condition, the rarity, and the timing. Coins like these don't just come along every day. And when they do, collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar to secure them. So next time you're digging through an old drawer or checking your grandfather's coin collection, take a closer look, because you never know, you might have a hidden gem in your hand. And if that gem happens to be a 1994 South African 10-cent coin in great condition, well, you might just be sitting on a small piece of history, worth as much as $5,900. Gemstone.